Alright, how's it going, everybody? This is Ismortah, and this evening during my Friday 6 p.m. Central video game stream, I'm going to be checking out some Gloomhaven. Be like, wait, Gloomhaven? I thought that was a board game. You are correct. This is the digital version of Gloomhaven. I recently got a code for the game on Steam, so check it out, see what it's all about. I actually have not played the board game, so it's going to be new to me, not only seeing how you work with the interface online, but also how you just play the game altogether. And that's going to be the focus of today's session. It's to see how you start the game, how you play the game, and just get a feel for how the game plays. And then after that, there could be future streams on actually delving into the campaign itself and seeing how well I can do, especially if there's interest with viewers seeing the content. And definitely, if you like what you've seen, be sure to catch me here on twitch.tv/Ismortah, as well. The VODs are within 24 hours will be posted here, as well as on YouTube at Shadow Balance Games. And then updates to schedule and upcoming content you could see on Twitter at Shadow Balance. All right, let me get the chat windows up so I can see comments, or if you have any things to add on as far as how the hell you play Gloomhaven. And it's a really popular game. I just have yet to play it, see what it's all about. I actually misunderstood at first, actually, what I saw many months ago on just how the decks work. I thought it was kind of like randomized, whereas the enemies are randomized, but you actually choose and build. It's sort of like deck building, but then you dungeon crawl. So this will be interesting. All right, so like I said, point of today is to navigate how to play the game is the goal here. So, let's see, the first thing we're going to do, let's do the tutorial. Well, let's look at how to play real quick. Just see basics, and then we'll do the tutorial today. I'm not going to read it for you. I'll let you read it. Oh, there's multiple pages. Sorry, let me go back. Oh, that's the second page. Okay. Okay, so the good news I have to say about playing this game online, as you may suspect, is you don't have to do a lot of the upkeep. If you just know how to play the game and what you want to do with your characters, all the housekeeping stuff. We see that with a lot of apps for like even board games that use a digital interface, like Magic the Madness or like Descent Legends of the Dark. That this will like do all that housekeeping calculations and setting up the game, all that shit for you, which is cool. Okay. So not 100% on how you use the decks and the timing of some stuff, but that'll probably make more sense when I see it. Okay. So you select two. You can only do select 2 ability cards or long rest. I'm assuming long rest is kind of like D&D. You can regain stats. Sub-Zero. Let's see here. So you choose 2 ability cards, but then I believe you... Okay, each card has 2 halves. I don't know what you mean by opposite halves. Oh, I see. You have 2 halves, but you have to do one card in sequence. One later and the other one afterwards. Okay, got it. Sort of. You can use this. You could opt to use your second card's initiative by clicking its golden initiative circle. So why do you get a choice though? So you can choose what initiative you want to use. It has to be on one of the cards. Okay. I just wonder why you would want to choose. I guess if you want certain characters on your team to go first, because like, wouldn't you always want to go first? But I guess, like in D&D, like if you want to be a healer or something, you do want to go second to heal after damage is taken. You want to go last. Whereas if you're doing something like preventative, like getting aggro or putting up a protective barrier, you probably want to go first. Setting the stage sort of thing. Maybe that's why. And that's one of the cool things about the game is like you don't have to keep track of the housekeeping of initiative. Once you determine what your number is, it figures out who goes when for everybody. So that's one of the good things about this is the housekeeping. Okay, so here's an example of the card. You have the top half, the bottom half. Okay. And I'm just going to, like I said, we're just doing an overview first of the rules, and then we'll get into actually doing the tutorial, which, you know, then it'll be the glue and actually see how all this makes sense, pulling it together. This way you just get sort of an idea of what they're doing before we jump into it. Okay, so okay, top half, bottom half, both of them have a unique thing you can do or a generic thing you can do. The initiative's the number in the center. And for quick reference, the default actions you see in the middle of the card on the left and right, which you also see that values again on the top and bottom. Which I have to say, from game design perspective, that's kind of dumb because you're putting the same information on the card twice, whereas you could just use symbols for default actions and then have specific actions on top and bottom, default left and right. But sure. Right, so you basically have like 4 things you could do during, like for example, you look at one of these. Oh, but can you use 2 different cards? Okay, so if I'm looking at this right, I'm sort of skipping around, then I go back and reinforce. Like for example, you see on right here, you have 2 cards. So basically, you have 8 things you can do. But you can only do, I believe, 2 things a turn, right? Unless you can do something at each card. But like when you choose, like for example, Unstable Upheaval, you can only do one of the top items, and then one of the bottom ones. Okay. Oh no, I'm reading this wrong. I guess I should. You can choose the first action to use for the 2 actions a player can perform in a turn. Bear in mind that the main action or default action from the opposite card half on the other card will then have to be your second action. Okay, so like Unstable Upheaval, I could choose one of the 2 options at the top. But if I do that, then I have to choose one of the 2 options on the bottom of Crater, if I'm reading this correctly. Similar of Crater, if I do one of the top 2 items, then the bottom ability will have to be one of the bottom 2 on Unstable Upheaval, if I'm reading that correctly. So it gives you options, but you have to do something with what you're provided between multiple cards. Okay. Now I'm just reading the example screenshot that is shown on the right-hand side, reading below. Yeah, this has a lot of icons and stuff. It just makes more sense to see how it's used. And I know what I'm trying to do here. It just... After all 3 of the abilities are complete. The hell are you talking about? Oh, I see, because Crater at the bottom has 3 abilities. So maybe I'm reading... Okay, so maybe I was reading this wrong. So you do... You could choose... Okay. You could do everything on the top and bottom half. It's just you do it in that order, but then you can only do the top or bottom half for any card, and whatever you do for top and bottom for one card, you then have to do on the other card. Okay, let's move on. All right, make more sense when we start actually doing it. Okay, so if normal cards you get back by resting. Burn cards can only do once per scenario unless you have to wait to recover. Permanently burned. That's it. So it's basically telling like how often you can use a card. Hey, what's up, Nacris? Gloomhaven is a I want to say it's a miniature dungeon crawling board game. It's actually one of the most popular dungeon crawling games out there. I would say like just below Kingdom Death Monster actually. But how this Gloomhaven plays, and I haven't played the game yet, is you do a deck manipulation on how you control your the person you're playing as, and then it's a dungeon crawler. So you have a party of people, you're going through the dungeon, killing monsters, getting loot, getting experience, sort of experience. Right now I'm just learning how the game goes, and then I'll do it after I finish going through the roles. Then I'll do a tutorial game to see. It shows probably like the basic comment what to do, and that's the stream, just learning the game. In future streams, I will do the campaign if it's of interest. But by the feel this, it's kind of like you're kind of like playing through like a D&D experience. At least, you know, the dungeon crawling and using your classes. Abilities. Short rest, long rest. Can you do different things? Okay, blah, I'll move on for now. Different things have different timings, blah. But yeah, this game, if you've ever seen the board game, it's a huge big box game. And that's the one reason I compared to Kingdom Death Monster. It's like hundreds of dollars for the game. There's, I believe, been already a couple expansions. It's highly rated. And the fact that I got a key for Steam, for the digital, I was like, well, I guess I should finally check this out. Different timings and bonuses. Just like saw different timings on penalties, blah, skip for now. Different types of movements, they're used different ways. It's pretty straightforward, different things you can ignore. But and the reason I'm kind of glossing over this because there's so many rules and there's no way I'm going to retain all this, just like people viewing. That's why I'm just like kind of glossing in the general gist. Then we'll do a tutorial to get a feel for how stuff's used, and then from there you can start thinking about why you might want to be a flyer, and what abilities could stop flying, and what abilities you could use advantageously when flying, sort of thing. But just want to get the basics down today. See, that's what I mean, like, for example, like, even obstacles. You think, oh, an obstacle, okay, it's a rock. And there's, like, a bazillion rules for just obstacles. The fact that, hey, can you move it? Can you not move it? Can you get around it? Does it hinder attacks? So it's like, yeah. There's a lot going on. Traps. Oh, it's cool. You have characters you can also create traps too. So it's when enemies start pursuing you, you can try to escape. And that's actually one of the things. If you'd seen my last stream that I did in Arkham Horde, I set a trap to block enemies who were trying to get toward me. So, yep, for sure. How to play. This is attacks. So like what you see here from Monobolt, this is the sword I assume is melee for 2 or ranged for 3, so you do more damage at range, just like with a gun, for example. I don't know what this is all about though. I have to get to that. The wheel and what this means here. You have to have line of sight, so there's line of sight in this game. You can't just target and attack. whatever you want. You got to be able to see it and be able to get to it. But you also can't target your characters, other friendly characters. That's not to say they probably couldn't get hit with collateral damage, I'm sure. But if I want to shoot up, if I'm this dude here and I want to shoot a monobolt at this zombie in the back, and let's say the zombie in the front is my friend, I can't shoot at my friend trying to hit the zombie, I believe, because I don't have a valid target that's in line of sight. Now, that being said, I don't know if characters actually block line of sight if they're behind another character, or if it has to be like an actual object, but we'll find out. I don't know if it's like true line of sight that I have to see some sort, like his shoulder or some part of his body, or if it's just, hey, if my hex is in front of your hex, you can't target the person behind me. That's probably how it goes, I would assume. Because if I recall, Gloomhaven had you can block, but it wasn't like Infinity that's like, well, if I can barely see his shoulder over your shoulder, then I can target him. I don't think it would. But I'll find out. But even Imperial Assault didn't do shit like that. Imperial Assault was, can I see your hex? Then I could target you. It wasn't, oh, I could see your hand so I could shoot you, right? So it wasn't true line of sight. It was positional line of sight. True. Okay, attack modifiers, that should be self-explanatory. So I won't get into minutia on that right now. Disadvantage and advantage. This looks like works the same way as 5th edition D&D, that you have a choice of 2 and you have to do the better one, or choice of 2 and use the worst one. In this case, it's doing let's say modifiers, but in D&D it's when you roll the dice twice, comparing values, but same deal, looks like. And so far that's what this game looks like. It's basically like D&D, but it's in the board game provided for you. But I think what's the most interesting thing of this deck, and that's hard for people, is actually how you generate the abilities for your characters when you're playing, because it's deck manipulation, deck building. So that's what I call deck building with D&D. It's what it feels like. Area effects. I'm not going to remember this, so I'm not going to try to remember this, but that comes in play, sure. Some attacks can do multiple targets. Okay, great. So again, I won't get into the minutia, because I'm not going to remember it. And a lot of it should be kind of self-explanatory anyway. Heal, great, we like healing. I don't know why they did heal with that icon, though, because... because this is really the icon for, damage, right? So I get if it said healing damage, but that's not really a healing icon. So that's... This design feedback, I would have chosen a different icon. Because does this imply... This just, in the history of iconography, that represents something bad, or something that's depleting, not something that you're gaining, right? You're not gaining blood. If you're playing a vampire game, yeah, I want to get more blood. That'd be a good thing, right? And that would heal a vampire. So in that case, that would actually fit better. Anyway. Shield, self-explanatory, prevent damage, like we talked about. Retaliate. This looks like, what was the word? Thorns and Diablo, as I imagine what this is. If you get hit, you can either do a counterattack or the enemy takes damage. That's what I'm thinking. Let's see here. Yeah, so this is if you get damage, then you do damage back if you get hit. Yeah, so it's like Thorns and Diablo. Loot. Allows you to pick up stuff in range and stuff. Okay. You can summon dudes. Okay, I won't get to in the minutia in this because I'm not going to remember it. Like I said, a lot of rules. Just want to get the basics. Yeah, and see, like, and this, Alexa, this is one of the deck building things too. It's like when you have your character, you can't just choose what you want. If you're limited for by what you draw in cards in your deck, and then you choose from what you're going to do from those cards. Same thing with the enemies. So, you know, it was like when D&D, you could choose what you want to do any given time. You only have a certain amount of mana or spell slots to do stuff. Let's say not mana, spell slots. This is like, well, if you have more of a certain type of card in your deck, then you could do that ability more often. Even though some abilities, like we learned earlier, can burn or be permanently burned or have continuous or permanent effects, which then you can have the benefit or penalty more often. Okay, so enemies by default always want to do closest, easiest to get to. It's not going to be... It doesn't look like it's going to be coordinated like, oh, if I see there's a healer in the back healing Ismortah, I'm going to shoot the healer first. It seems like they go after closest targets. You know, I could be wrong. You know, like you play like World of Warcraft, if a healer's healing a lot, it's going to draw threats more than a DPS, and so the enemy is going to say, hey, I can't kill this guy because you keep healing him, I'm going to kill the healer first. So, it does look like that type of aggro's in this game. It's more simple. Kind of like fighting zombies. It's whatever's hooves in their vision, sort of thing. Simplest, most optimum attacks without being a disadvantage. Sure, that makes sense. Okay, I'm just glossing over this. Monster attacks, blah, 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 blah. Sure. I'm not going to go through really the minutiae right now of this, because like I said, I'm not going to remember it. This is really like level 2, figuring out the game. The minutiae of different modifiers and shit. Poison wound, immobilize disarm. Okay. Strengthen, invisible. Sure. Empower. Hide. Positive, negative modifiers. Sure. Different elements do different things. Sure. Experience. Gain experience. Great. Taking damage. Okay, this is interesting. So whenever you take damage, you can choose how damage is done, if I'm reading this correctly. You can burn. You can either take damage to lose hit points, or you can burn a card from your hand, which means it can't be used again for during the scenario, or you can burn 2 discarded cards, which is better if you have something of interest. But in actuality, long term, it's worse because you're losing 2 cards instead of 1. So it looks like the advantage here is you always want to take damage, preferably, because you want to have a deck built a certain way to do stuff. But if you're taking too much damage, you can instead lose cards from your deck. But the problem is, if you lose cards from your deck, you have less options to do what you want. Because I haven't gone to this yet, but like, what happens when you have no more cards left in your deck? Can you reshuffle, or is that all the actions you can take for the rest of the scenario? I don't know. Maybe it just I don't know. But yeah, like see here with the tip. You can it's easier to recover hit points resting than it is to recover cards that you've burned. Right. Sure. Exhausted, I'm assuming that means you're like KO. If all characters are exhausted, the scenario is lost. Otherwise, you come back at the beginning of the next scenario. Great. Cool. Alright, we got the gist. So now let's see what this tutorial is all about. I don't want this session to be too long, because this whole, like I said, the whole point of this is just to learn, hey, what is Gloomhaven? How do you play? And then I can have a stream running through the campaign. So we'll see how many of these we can get through. I don't know how long these are. We shall see. I don't want this stream to be over an hour since it's just seeing what's up. Let's start checking it out. And this basically should be going over the same stuff we've just read. Now it's seeing it in action, putting it together.
Welcome, Guildmaster. I'm the Guild Trainer, and I'm here to guide you through setting up your own mercenary guild. Let's start with you guiding the brute through this first tutorial.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, what? Okay, so these are 2 cards. And these are all the options that I can do. Okay, so I got these 2 cards. Okay. Select trample. Okay. Okay. Select, grab, and go. Okay. Oh, see, I misunderstood. I thought I had to do a top ability and then do a bottom ability. That's not what it is at all. You have a card, and you could do any of the 2 abilities on any of the 2 cards. But if I commit to doing a bottom ability on one card, I have to do the top ability on the other card. Or if I do a top, I have to do a bottom. And it's not always you do the top first and then the bottom second. I was thinking about that just because seeing games like Scythe or a lot of like Euro games, they do the top action, then the bottom action. That's not the case at all. You have a choice, and then you have to do the opposite on the other card. Okay. Got it. Got it. Okay, so that's another thing too. Like, I can't just move my character. You can only do stuff that's on the card. A type of move or a type of attack. And it looks like that's the difference between the 2 cards too. Each card, regardless of what it does, has a type of attack at the top and type of move at the bottom. I could be wrong, but that's what I currently see. No, I'm wrong, because like that's loot and move. Okay. So we're going to move 4. Okay. And now I'm assuming I can show where I want to go. Nice. Yeah, so far I have to say this tutorial is actually pretty good step by step. So I think what I'm going to do is do a couple things in the tutorial, and then I'll have another session later going through the rest of the tutorial, because that's actually pretty good, I have to say. Like I said, I just don't want this to be super long. Hover over the... Okay, so this is the Bandit Guard's stats. Oh, they want me to look here. So this tell me what the bandit can do. He can move 1 and attack 3. I get 2 actions per turn, monsters only get 1. So what that means is, for example, if I'm way over here, the monster's not going to attack me. He's going to spend his turn moving. Whereas me, I could spend my turn, move to get closer, and then attack. Or if I was right next to him, I could attack and then like move away. Yes, attack and then boom. Okay, I have to say, that was pretty gratifying. I like it. I was trying to see if I could spin around. Doesn't look like it. I can only move the camera so I can see all the room, or zoom. But I can't, like, spin around and keep my character in the center of my screen. Okay. Like some of the camera shit you can do, like World of Warcraft, for example. Oh, snap. I'm getting mauled. Man, I think I want to burn cards, because I have so little health. Yeah, I can't burn 2 cards because I only have 1 card left. Oh, so that is what it is. You go through the deck, and if you go through all of the cards in your deck, then you can't do any more actions during the scenario. Got it. And I could choose to do no cards and do a long rest. Or I can burn a discarded card at random to recover all other discarded cards. Alright. So there is a way to recycle the cards back. It's just every time you do that, you burn a card. And when you burn a card, it makes your deck get smaller. So you play through all your cards, you can replay them. It's just when you take damage, you could burn cards. That shrinks your deck. And then if your deck's really small, that means you have to rest more often to get your cards back. It's a losing, snowballing situation. Got it. Alright, so it looks like my deck is here. What's highlighted is what I'm choosing. What's highlighted are my choices. Here are other abilities, and discard stuff that's burned. Okay. Oh, I see. So lower number is higher initiative. You go first. So that's what I mean. It's not a higher initiative. It's initiative. You know, who goes first? 1. Who goes next? Number 2. Okay. If I'm reading that. Oh, no. Maybe I'm not reading that correctly. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, so we want to do max damage. Oh, you don't loot. You don't automatically loot. You have to have cards to loot. So that's funny too. So if you have a lot of loot cards, you can pillage a room. But if you don't have any loot cards, you can't pick up anything. But if you have a lot of loot cards, you also can't. Less effective in combat. That's where the deck building comes into play.
Great work. Not only did you vanquish the lone bandit guard, you've even managed to pick up a few pieces of gold. With the basics covered, it's now time to introduce you to some slightly more dangerous scenarios.
Okay, so let's take a look here. There are 11 scenarios total. We've done 1, there's 10 left. So let's go ahead and do grab and go. That way we know the basics of shooting, moving, selecting cards, moving, killing. Very basics. And then during next stream for Gloomhaven, we can go into the other 9 tutorials and just bust out these tutorials on all like little specifics about the game. I think that'd be good. Let's do that. Perhaps the game looks interesting. I see it now.
Welcome to your first training mission. You've learned the basics, but now you must help the gravely wounded brute deal with a bandit archer elite, a stronger enemy with greater stats than normal. With only a single hit point remaining, any amount of damage getting through will cause the brute to become exhausted. As such, you will have to avoid any incoming damage by burning cards. For the sake of training, the attack modifier decks will all be +0s, so don't worry about those for now.
That's just like what I was saying earlier. It's like, don't worry about modifiers on this crap. That makes the game more complex and adds to the strategy. But right now, just how do you play the game? Right.
Your objectives to start are: take down the archer with a single attack. Loot the gold she drops. Now surely you can handle that.
Okay, we're gonna try to handle that. I'm trying to, and what I'll try to do also is briskly go through this because I kind of know what to click. We'll see if I can't just kind of do it. So first of all, I probably need to heal before I get attacked. I could push the enemy into a trap, possibly, but I'd still need to heal myself. Well, I'd probably have to burn cards. So let's try to see if I can't do that. Wait, what did I do? It has high initiative. Okay, so now what? Oh, I have to choose 2 cards. Okay. That's right. I do one ability. So if I'm gonna use this for the move, then the attack or something else has to be on something else. Oh, I could shield self. That's a good idea too. Wait. Oh, lower number has higher initiative, so I already fucked it up, right? Because I didn't go first. Yeah, I think so. Oh, I was gonna go there and move, but because I had lower initiative, I fucked myself. I may have just fucked up this tutorial. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck I'm supposed to do. I was gonna like push him into a trap, but I can't do that. Okay, so let's shield self. And then attack.
Overwhelming Assault is a powerful card, but such power comes at a cost. Actions like Overwhelming Assault's top half, with the flaming card icon in the corner, cause the card to be burned once used, meaning you can't use it again.
But that was a powerful attack, and that's why.
Grab that gold.
And that's why you burn it, because it's such a powerful attack. If you used it all the time, it'd be overpowered. Cool, I did it. Awesome.
Mercenaries that leave gold behind don't tend to be particularly successful. Remember to end the turn on gold when you have the opportunity.
Wait, what? Oh, because I didn't do everything in one turn? Is that the problem? I think it was one of the victory conditions. Like, it wasn't just kill the person, it was
to your first training mission.
Blah.
Only a single hit point remaining.
Blah.
Objectives to start are: take down the archer with a single.
See, I don't understand that. Like, why was that a mission failure? It It didn't say
You can handle
that I couldn't have spent 2 turns to loot the gold. It just says loot the gold. That's what I was going to do on my next turn. So, I have to say, this is a bad written tutorial, because it should say kill the archer and loot the gold in 1 turn. And how you do that is probably you do overwhelming assault, and then for your second action, you do the loot option, probably. But like, it doesn't say that. It doesn't say that I can't. It doesn't say that I have to do everything in 1 turn, right? Anyway, blah. More practice. All right. So okay. So I'm doing initiative. Man, I still forget. Like, lower initiative goes first, right? Am I wrong? God, see, I already forgot. Did higher initiative, or did a higher number go first or lower? Christ. I don't know, I'll try higher. I thought I did higher before and she beat me, though. So, but she's got 6 hit points, and this will do 4. So that's not enough to kill in 1 blow. That was one that criteria. So I'll try grab and go. And overwhelming assault. She's gonna hit me first, but it's not gonna matter because like it's burn a card. And see, that's the thing. Like, I could have done a lower initiative to beat 14, but then I would not be able to do abilities to beat her to complete the objective in 1 turn. So she goes first. She's gonna hit me, burn a card, kill her with overwhelming assault, and then use the loot 1, which I assume means loot something 1 hex away. Let's see if that is how it happens. Okay, burn 1 card. Okay, then I want to do the attack.
overwhelming assault is a pop.
Oh, right. See, that's why I do tutorial. Because I did the top part of this card, I couldn't then do the top part of this card. I had to then do the bottom. What I'm noticing the trend in these cards is this is really the more powerful move, and this is the lesser. Even though you can mix and match attack and move, blah, 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 blah. Like, looting is more important than moving, so that's probably how they do the balancing. But I should be able to move to the gold, I would assume, to get it. Maybe I'm wrong. Cool.
Good job. With no enemies left and your objectives complete, the scenario normally would have ended already, leaving that chest behind. However, for the sake of training, I'm going to set you another objective. Loot the chest. Before you rush headlong into that trap, you might want to heal up a bit first. I'd suggest taking a long rest, which will let you heal too, and recover enough discarded cards, allowing you to withstand the 2 damage from the trap and reach the chest.
It looks like I have to do a default action move. Both these have moved too. Alright. I could do a shield action and then a move action. Oh, see, I already fucked up. I probably just lost. Because I did a move action, this bottom action, that counted for the movement. And now I can't do a movement because the top action is just an attack. So I probably